So we were discussing on the mechanics of composite materials, the macro mechanics part, and we discussed the independent constants for the isotropic material. So there are two. So because of this relation, okay, and then we discussed this the same for the we were discussing the strain stress relations and the same thing for a UD lamina, and then we discussed this global axis and the material axis. So you have understood the what is global axis, what is material axis, and then how to transform from one to the other. Okay, so now a bit on the materials side. So what is the difference between the anisotropic material and the orthotropic material? Can anybody answer that? What is an anisotropic material? What is an orthotropic material? Have you heard of these terms?
In anisotropic, the elastic modulus will not be same at all directions.
So different in different directions.
Okay. What
So in
about
orthotropic, it will be different in the three mutually perpendicular directions.
okay? So if you have the plane over here, the three mutually perpendicular planes, then in this direction it will be the same, okay, and along that plane it will be the same, and in the other plane it will be the same.
Yes, sir.
So that is called as an orthotropic material. Now when you apply, suppose you take an example of a isotropic material. You take an isotropic material, okay, and then apply so for example, just a second. So you take a isotropic material, okay, and then apply a tensile stress, okay. What kind of strains do you expect? Suppose this is a thin metal sheet, okay, you have applied a tensile stress. What kind of strains do you expect in this?
Longitudinal strain.
Okay, epsilon x, epsilon y also? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then gamma xy? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In other dimension also, sir. Even in z-axis.
No, take it as a thin sheet,
Oh, okay.
the thickness. Okay. What kind of strains will act for this stress? What kind of strains do you get for this sigma x? You'll get the strain in the x direction.
Sir.
Will you get the strain in the y direction? Do you get the strain in y direction? Because of a stress in x direction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Lateral
What is
strain.
Deformation.
Poisson's ratio? Okay, because of the Poisson's ratio. What about this one? What about this one? What is this? Gamma xy means what?
Shear.
Shear strain.
Shear strain.
Shear strain. Do you get this?
No, sir.
No. Okay, you don't get a shear strain for a extensional stress. Okay, you get extensional strain for extensional stress. Okay, when you have extensional stress, you get only extensional strain and not a shear strain. This is the case of what? Isotropic material. Okay, this is a case of isotropic material. Now, suppose you take a anisotropic material. Okay, this is an anisotropic material, a thin sheet again. Okay, and then you apply stress in the x direction. What kind of strains can you expect?
Sir, same strain, but both are not equal.
Epsilon x will be there, epsilon y will be there.
But
Okay,
they are not equal, sir. Because
even in this case, are they equal? Is epsilon x equal to epsilon y?
No, sir, they are not equal.
Okay, so here also it's not equal. Then what about gamma xy? The shear strain. Can you get a shear strain for the extensional stress?
no, sir, we go
This is a what kind of material I am talking about?
anisotrope.
An isotropic material. Okay, so here all things are possible. Okay, so when you apply a extensional stress, you can get extensional strain as well as the shear strain. Okay, so such a material is called as anisotropic material. Okay, so even this can happen. You don't apply shear stress. Do you apply shear stress here? No, you have applied only extensional stress, but you get a shear strain. Okay, so that kind of behavior is there for a anisotropic material. Okay, now what is a UD lamina now? Is it orthotropic, anisotropic? What do we consider it as? The UD lamina. What is UD? What do you mean by UD lamina? What does UD stands for?
Directional.
Unidirectional lamina. Okay. Yeah. So can it be considered as orthotropic?
Yes, sir.
So if you have fibers along this direction, if you have three mutually perpendicular planes, then somewhere in this point and this point, the properties are same, correct? So
Yes, sir.
along this direction, so the other plane also the same thing, and the third plane also the same thing. Okay, so that way you can consider it as a orthotropic material. Now there are two cases in a UD lamina which we come across. First one is you have this is X, this is Y, and the fibers are along this direction. Okay, fibers are along this direction. Okay, and the second case, you have fibers are along the Y direction. Okay, fibers are along this Y direction, and then you have the third case where it is inclined. Okay, here it is inclined. Now you apply a stress here, sigma x. Okay, sigma x you apply in all three cases. So what will be the strains that you can expect? Yeah. So epsilon x,
Epsilon y.
epsilon y. For which case? This one?
Yes, sir. First one.
This is first one. This is second one. This is third one. Okay. So for the first one, you have epsilon x and epsilon y. What about gamma xy?
No, sir.
Do you get shear strain?
No, sir.
Or
No, sir.
no? What about the second case?
We don't get shear stress, sir, in that case too.
No. Shear stress is not applied. The
Yes, sir.
extensional stress is applied. And do you get shear strain is what I'm asking.
Oh, sir. No, sir. We don't get shear strain. We get only epsilon x and epsilon y.
Okay. What about this case?
We will get, sir.
You can get. Okay. So this case you can get epsilon x, epsilon y, and gamma xy. Okay. So, but you are applying only the extensional stress. You are getting a shear strain.
Shear.
Okay. So this is possible. So these two kinds are called as specially orthotropic materials. Specially orthotropic. Okay. And this kind of behavior is generally orthotropic. Okay, generally orthotropic material. So if you have the fibers along the direction of the load that you apply or to the perpendicular, then you have only the extensional strains. You don't have shear strains. But if you have an inclined, if you have orientation of the fiber, if the fiber are oriented at an angle which is not at the angle of this direction of application of stress, then what you can get is the extensional strain as well as the shear strain. Okay, so this condition is called as a generally orthotropic material, and these types are called as specially orthotropic. Okay, when you apply extensional stress, you get extensional strain, then it is specially orthotropic. Generally orthotropic, if you apply extensional stress, you get extensional strain as well as shear strain. Okay, so what kind of behavior is this? Is this like, do these two behave like isotropic or anisotropic? These two cases, first and second. Isotropic, what did we say? If you have extensional stress, you have extensional strain only. You don't have shear strain. Okay. Is that the same case here also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is like isotropic. Okay. But I don't call it as isotropic material because of the these fibers here. Okay. So the properties are going to change along the longitudinal and the transverse directions. Okay. But this is behaving like a anisotropic material, correct? Because for extensional stress, you are getting extensional strains as well as shear strain. Okay. For extensional stress, you're getting extensional strain as well as shear strain. So this kind of behavior is anisotropic in nature. Okay, so that's why you call these as generally orthotropic materials. Okay, these are orthotropic materials, the UD lamina, but you have two classifications in this, specially orthotropic and generally orthotropic. Okay, one behaves like an isotropic, one behaves like anisotropic. Okay, so do you get this difference? Do you understand this? Do you understand when I say extensional stress? Extension, okay, you're just pulling in that direction. Okay, extensional stress. Shear strain you're getting in this generally orthotropic for extensional stress itself. Okay, fine. Any doubts in this so far? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Fine. Now, we discussed about the compliance matrix, and stiffness matrix. Okay, we discussed about this compliance matrix and stiffness matrix. Now, we always wrote it for a UD lamina. Suppose if you want to write it for the three-dimensional material, okay, suppose you want to write it for a three-dimensional material, then what you do is you take the epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z, okay, instead of x, y, z, I'll put it as 1, okay, epsilon 1, epsilon 2, epsilon 3, gamma 2, 3, gamma 3, 1, and gamma 1, 2, okay, is equal to, what is this matrix called? What should come in between? What should come in between? Yes?
Transformation matrix.
No. Because I'm writing both sides material axis. Okay? Both sides are material axis. Why do I need a transformation matrix here? What is transformation matrix used for? It is used for this thing. From, you know, the global stresses, you want to find the local stresses. Okay, so you use a transformation matrix. What is this matrix inside? What should come here? Either it must be this one or this one. Choose which one.
Stiffness.
Stiffness matrix.
Stiffness, sir.
Stress by strain is the elastic modulus. Okay, epsilon is equal to what?
Sigma into E.
Sigma into E. Stress by strain.
Divide by E.
So what should come here? What did I say about stiffness? Stiffness is proportional. Stiffness is dependent on what?
Modulus of
Elastic modulus.
Elastic modulus. Okay. So what will come here?
1 by E.
You have strain here. You have stress here. So what will be here?
1 by E.
Inverse of the modulus.
Yeah, 1 by E means, are you talking about stiffness matrix or compliance matrix?
Compliance, sir.
Compliance matrix. Okay. So you're confused. So let me confuse you some more. Okay. So what I'll do is, now we have said this will be compliance matrix. So I'll write this as I'll denote this matrix with the letter S. Okay, S11, S12, S13, S14, S15, S16. Okay, so what am I writing here? I'm writing the compliance matrix for a three-dimensional body. Okay, so this is S21, S22, S23, S24, S25, S26, and so on. You write. Okay, fill up these things. Okay, what will be this? S61, S62, S63, S64, S65, S66. Okay, so what I mean is compliance matrix is denoted by the letter S. Okay, and stiffness matrix is denoted by C. Okay, so this is what is followed in the books. So we will follow the same thing. Okay, I know you're confused, but slowly you will adjust with this. Okay, compliance matrix is denoted by the letter S. Stiffness matrix is denoted by the letter C. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can change this, but if
Yes.
if I do that, you'll not be able to follow any other books. Okay, so we will not change it. Okay, since the books follow this thing, okay, we'll follow the same. Okay, so all books follow S as compliance matrix and C as stiffness matrix. Okay, so the interchange. Here S is the starting letter, but S is used for this. C is the starting letter, but C is used for this. Okay, just the reverse of this. Okay, don't get confused. But this is what is followed in books, so following the same. Otherwise, you won't be able to refer the textbooks. That's the problem. Okay, so this is for a three-dimensional one. How many elements are there in this? 36. How many are there in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 into 6 is 36. Okay. How do you write this for a 2D one? 2D, UD lamina. How do you write? What all will be there? This will be there.
E1, E2.
This will be there. Will this be there?
No, sir.
Will this be there?
No, sir.
Will this
No,
be
sir.
there?
Only first two.
1, 2, and
What about this one?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Will be there.
It will be
Is
there.
1, 2.
Okay. So, so I'll not have this. Okay. I'll have in the first row. I'll have S11, S12, and S16. Okay. And then in the second row, what will I have? S21, S22. Will I have this? No. I won't have this. I'll have this. Okay. Will I have this one? Will I have this one?
no.
S16 is there, S61 will be there,
Yes, sir, will be
S62, S26. These things will not be there. Okay, what about S66?
Yes, sir.
This is gamma 12 and this is tau 12. Okay,
Yes.
so there's a relation there. Okay, so we'll write these elements in a, separately. Okay, so what we got was the compliance matrix for a UD lamina. We write it as S11, S12, S16, okay, S21, S22, S26, S61, S62 and S66. Okay, this is how we write. Okay, now if I have to write the strain stress relations, it will be epsilon 1, epsilon 2, gamma 12 is equal to S11, S12, S16. Why 6 here? S21, S22, S26. Why is it 6 suddenly here? S61, S62, S66. Yeah. Why is it 6 here? Because when we wrote the 3-dimensional one, we wrote this in the last row. Okay, gamma 12. Okay, we write gamma 23 first, and then gamma 31, and then gamma 12. Okay, since we write in the 6th row, okay, gamma 12, which is there, so this matrix becomes like this. Okay, and this is sigma 1, sigma 2, and what will be this? Tau 1, 2. Okay, what matrix is this? What is this matrix called? What is this matrix called?
Compliance.
Compliance matrix. Okay, fine. Did you understand why this is 6 here? Because in a 3-dimensional thing, when we write, we follow this order. Okay, books follow this order. Okay, it is always written in this order: epsilon 1, epsilon 2, epsilon 3, gamma 2, 3, gamma 3, 1, gamma 1, 2. Because we follow this order, when we write for a UD lamina, it becomes like this. Okay, now this is for the compliance matrix. If I have to write the same thing for the stiffness matrix, then all these terms, the stress terms will be on the left side, the strain will be on the right side, and what will I have here? What will I have here?
C, sir.
Yeah.
C11.
C11, C12, C13, that is the stiffness matrix. Okay, you understand this, right? Put the strains on the right, put all the stress on the left, that is stress strain relation. Then this matrix would be replaced by the stiffness matrix. Instead of S, you put C. Okay, this is for 3-dimensional one. Okay, now this is the compliance matrix for the UD lamina. Now let's write the stiffness matrix for the UD lamina. So that would be sigma 1, sigma 2, tau 12 is equal to, what should come here? I said stiffness matrix means, stiffness matrix is denoted by the letter C. Okay, this is for 3-dimensional material. Okay, suppose the same stiffness matrix, if it's for a 2D, okay, for example a UD lamina, then it is denoted by the letter Q. Okay, it's denoted by the letter Q. This is called as reduced stiffness matrix. This is called as reduced stiffness matrix. First I said stiffness matrix is denoted by C. Okay, but we were writing the 3-dimensional for the 3D material, so it was C. Okay, but for the reduced stiffness matrix, we use the letter Q. But when it comes to compliance, okay, whether it is 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional, S is only used. Okay, I wrote S here for the 3-dimensional as well. I wrote S for the 2-dimensional as well. Okay, but in case of a stiffness matrix, you write C for the 3-dimensional and Q for the 2-dimensional, and call this matrix as the reduced stiffness matrix. You call this as reduced stiffness matrix. It is Q11, Q12. What will be this thing? What will be here?
0, 0.
Q16. The term is Q16 there. Okay. Q21, Q22, Q26, Q61, Q62, Q66. Okay. And then this will be what? Epsilon 1, epsilon 2, and gamma 1, 2. Now, can somebody tell me when will this Q16 and Q26 be 0? So Q12 is equal to Q21, okay, because of the symmetry. Q12 is equal to Q21, Q16 is equal to Q61, and Q26 is equal to Q62, okay. When will these two terms be 0? These two means this also, okay, and also this. When will these 4 terms go to 0? Any idea? Or when will you get these terms? Yes, we discussed about this. What did we discuss? For an extensional stress, yeah, can somebody try this? For an extensional stress, you get what? Can somebody try this, please? Answer. For extensional stress, you get what kind of strain?
Epsilon X and epsilon Y.
Epsilon 1 and
1.
2.
Epsilon 2.
If you don't get gamma 1, 2, then that kind of material is what?
Isotropic.
It behaves like isotropic, but it's not isotropic. Okay, we are talking about UD lamina. Okay, so what do you call that material as? This is what I told.
Yeah.
Specially orthotropic.
Specially orthotropic material.
Okay, we call that material as specially orthotropic. When that is possible? When the fibers are aligned along this direction of the load or perpendicular and not at an angle. If it's at an angle, it is generally orthotropic.
Right.
You have this term as well. Okay, so what does this matrix tell you? See, this is equal to this term multiplied by epsilon 1. Okay, this is possible. When you apply a extensional stress, you get extensional strain. This term is also non-zero because when you are applying a extensional stress, you get a extensional strain. Okay, so but when you are applying a extensional stress, you don't get a shear strain. Okay, matrix multiplication is how? This way, right? Correct? Q16 into gamma 1, 2. Okay, you don't get this here. So this is 0 in case of specially orthotropic material. Specially orthotropic. Specially orthotropic. What all will be 0? Q16 will be 0. And then Q26 will be 0. Okay. When Q16 is 0, Q61 is also equal to 0. Q26 is 0, Q62 is also equal to 0. But do you have Q66? Will Q66 be there?
No, sir.
You have the shear stress here. Okay. When you multiply the shear strain with this, you get the shear stress, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So
Yes, sir.
this is possible. What is this term actually? What is this term? Q66. How is shear stress and shear strain related?
G, sir.
Shear stress by shear strain is G. Okay. Q66 is nothing but what? G. Okay. So shear stress, this Q66 term will be there. Okay. So in a specially orthotropic material, when you have extensional stress, you don't get a shear strain. Okay. If you have a shear stress, you get a shear strain. For extensional stress, you don't get a shear strain. But if it's a generally orthotropic, what do you mean by generally orthotropic material? What do you mean by generally orthotropic material?
Shear strain is included.
What is the meaning of generally orthotropic? The fiber direction
Is it angle, sir?
is at an angle to the applied stress. Okay. And not at 0 degree or 90 degree, some other angle. Then it is generally orthotropic material, and it will have, when you apply extensional stress, you also get a shear strain to that. Okay. So when you apply extensional stress, if you get extensional strain plus the shear strain, then that kind of lamina is called as generally orthotropic lamina. If you apply a extensional stress, you get only extensional strain, then that type of lamina is called as specially orthotropic lamina.